Hey guys, welcome to the Max Life. I'm so excited to be able to share with you guys a homemade cheese recipe without all of the junk. That number one is so easy to make. It does not take all day like your traditional books, step by step. It is very time consuming. So it does not take all day. It tastes amazing. And here's the big thing for us here at the Max is texture. So the texture is so lovely. I think you guys are going to be blown away at how good this cheese really is, made from simple ingredients that you already have on hand. So the first thing I want to do is I already have my milk on the stove, and I have popped my thermometer in there, and we are not quite to temperature yet. So the first thing I want to do is bring my milk up to 140 degrees. Now I'm actually doubling my recipe. We have a big family. I need a lot of cheese, right? So I'm actually doubling my recipe, but for you guys, I'm gonna be sharing this recipe for what calls for 1 gallon of milk. So all of the ingredients that you see me add in, I'm gonna be doubling, okay guys? I'm gonna be doubling for my portion, but what you guys see, the recipe that I'm gonna be sharing, you can find it on my link. It'll be completely typed out for you guys. It's for 1 gallon of milk. And I'm gonna be sharing in the video for 1 gallon of milk. Now, I am doubling mine, but you guys will hear everything that I do for 1 gallon of milk. So, I have my milk warming up. Now, I'm using raw milk from our cow. It has not been pasteurized whatsoever. Until now, it's getting brought up to heat. I have been told that store-bought milk works as well. I cannot attest to that because we don't buy milk from the store, so I can just tell you that I've been told that store-bought milk works too. Here's my thing with the milk, is I need the milk to be at 140 degrees. We are almost there. Now here's my next step. My milk is almost warm, so I'm gonna grab some citric acid that I have on hand. The recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of citric acid. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of citric acid over into a measuring cup. Now, since my milk is almost up to temperature and I have measured out my citric acid, I'm now going to take 1/4 cup of water, just room temperature water, and I'm going to go ahead and stir in my water and my citric acid and set this by my milk. While I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my salt. Now, the recipe for 1 gallon of milk calls for 1½ teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that measured out so I can set it off to the side. And when I'm ready to grab those things, it will already be pre-measured out. It will just make it go a little bit faster, especially while I'm waiting on my milk to come to room temperature. I can use my time wisely. The other 2 things you want to have on hand is butter and baking soda, which we are not going to be using right now. So put the butter, baking soda, and salt off to the side. Have your citric acid mixed up already in your water and ready to go. Also, while you're prepping, while you're waiting on your milk to warm up, is you want to have a colander with a fairly large sized butter cloth. We call it cheesecloth down here, but sometimes you will see butter cloth on the packages, like this one that I have right here, like this one right here, but some type of cheesecloth, because we're going to be working the curds and that. So those are the other things that you definitely need to have on hand when you're making cheese. Now that we are at our temperature with our milk, you are ready for your next step. What you're about to see me do is pretty cool. I want to give my milk a little bit of a stir. I've got my thermometer over, kind of hanging in the top, just to make sure that all of my milk, even when I stir it up, maybe there's no cold pockets or anything like that that gets sitting around. My milk is 140 degrees. My heat has been at a medium to low medium. You don't want to heat your milk up too fast, but now that I have it up to temperature, I'm going to go ahead and kill the heat. I'm going to take my citric acid, This is the part I want to show y'all that's pretty cool. This is what causes you see my beautiful white milk right now. But what you're going to see when I slowly add in the citric acid is the curds and the whey are going to begin to separate. Give that a gentle stir. And you can start seeing some of the curds come away from that whey. This will look completely different in just a minute. Now I'm going to be bringing my pot over. Now I have a bowl in the bottom of mine because I want to keep my whey. I do use that for freeze drying. And you guys are going to see me strain off the whey and the curds. This right here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And I'm going to go ahead and remove my whey out of the way. And what you're going to see me doing now is just like another straining technique. I'm just going to be using this. It's going to be moving my curds around. They're going to be forming into a ball and getting off the extra whey that may be in there. Now that I'm done draining my whey, I'm downsizing my pots because I have a lot of cheese and I had a big pot for 2 gallons of milk. But if you're only doing 1 gallon, a smaller pot would be fine. I'm gonna downsize because it's a little bit easier to handle instead of working in the big pot. So I'm just gonna bring my cheese back over. I'm going to return this to medium heat. And I want to start breaking apart some of this cheese just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add my butter. 1 tablespoon of butter for you guys. 1 tablespoon of butter. You guys are going to go ahead and add your salt as well. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And you guys are just going to kind of see me work this into my cheese. I have my heat back on a medium. And I just want to kind of work the salt and the butter in right now. Now this is not actually where the magic happens. That's going to come when we add the baking soda. So you guys are going to need 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And you can see right now that it's kind of choppy still. But the texture is going to change dramatically whenever we add in the baking soda. I'm also very quickly going to butter a little dish that I'm going to be putting my cheese in. Now I have purposes. I don't really have like a wonderful cheese mold. So I have found it easier to put my cheese in here. I'm going to have a thicker block of cheese, and that is going to allow me to actually use my slicer to slice my cheese with. And now that we're getting our cheese just a little bit warmer, it's kind of going in that melty stage a little bit, I want to go ahead and add in my baking soda. So you guys are adding 3/4 baking soda right over into that cheese. Now, one thing that I did not do was add any food coloring, any cheese coloring. I just prefer for my cheese to not have any extra expense. It's not extremely sustainable in my opinion. Look guys, oh, let me turn it down here where y'all can see. Look how my cheese has changed in consistency. It's more of a puffy, kind of thicker, lighter cheese. That is what the baking soda has done to the cheese. And it makes the texture just absolutely amazing. And it requires a lot of stirring right here. This is the most timely process. I'm just gonna, besides waiting on the milk to warm up, so I'm just gonna take my time and kind of stir this in. One of the things I'm gonna be waiting on is for it to begin to look a little shiny in appearance. You'll see that go from kind of a fluffy, light looking to the more you continue to stir, your cheese will begin to get kind of shiny. Once it is shiny, I'm going to put it over in my pan. See how my cheese has changed into a very shiny look. It's melty, but it's also shiny, but I can also form it. That really is a perfect indicator that your cheese is done. So I'm going to go ahead with my bowl that I have just lightly buttered. I'm going to go ahead and take my Velveeta cheese up. At this point in your cheese making, you could add some milk to this and make it more of a dip. If you wanted it to be more of a dip, if you don't and you want it to be more of a slicing style cheese, which is what I'm going for today, I'm going to leave it just as is and I'm going to form it down into my bowl so that I will have a nice block of cheese to cut. It's down in my mold. I'm just going to gently push that down. We will let this cool. So now that I have my cheese made, I cannot wait for it to cool. I'm going to show y'all my slicing afterwards and taste testing as well. As I mentioned, I did not color my cheese, but if you wanted it that nice yellow color that everybody associates with cheese, there is a cheese coloring. You would get that and add that into your milk when your milk was warming up, and you would have that nice orange color. However, it's just an extra expense for my family when it doesn't really matter to me if the cheese is white or orange. And the children don't care either. Maybe if you were taken to a party or something, I could see that. However, we don't mind the cheese being just like it is. It's just an extra expense in my opinion, so I do not add it into the cheese. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hang tight for the slicing and the taste testing coming up next. Okay guys, I am done slicing my cheese. I went with a couple of pieces that were a little bit thicker. So I changed the setting and then I did a couple that were a little bit more thin. I'm all around really happy with the way this turns out, but here comes the taste test. So here was one of the ones that I sliced when I was trying to figure out how to adjust, how back and forth I needed to go. The texture feels really good to my hands, but the taste is all that matters. And y'all, I just cannot get over how good this cheese tastes, especially considering how easy it is to make. It is absolutely wonderful. This is one that will definitely not disappoint. I think you guys are going to be blown away at how easy it is to make. Now I can take this and use it for sandwiches. I can make grilled cheese, cheese toast, pizza, put it on salads. There is so much that you can do with this cheese, y'all. And it tastes so good. I just cannot get over that. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video and tagging along with me today. My cheese sat up, I got it sliced. You guys have been able to watch everything from beginning to end, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please leave me a comment if you plan to make this cheese. If you've watched maybe something similar and just have been a little bit eerie on making cheese, because I know I have used many recipe books and they have all been flops, to where this recipe has truly proven to turn out amazing, and that is a win-win for us. We are so thrilled and so excited. God bless, guys, and happy homesteading, y'all.